Hey everyone, this is Peter from Roland. We are really excited to announce the TR-06 drum machine. The TR-06 is based off of the TR-606. The TR-606 came out in 1981 and was really popular because it was very affordable and very easy to use. It also was an iconic drum machine in the popularization of genres of music like acid house. The TR-06 is a detailed replica of the TR-606 with substantial upgrades and modernized features. Using ACB, the TR-06 has a lot of sound shaping options. This gives the user the capability of crafting their own ideal 606 sounds. This uses things like effects, things like individual tone shapes per drum, and a lot of other capabilities that wouldn't be possible with traditional analog circuitry. In addition to bringing back the 606 song mode and step sequencer, we've also added advanced programming options. So things like step loop, substep, probability, velocity per step, a lot of tools making it really easy to come up with interesting grooves. Also provided are a generous 5 trigger outputs and 1 trigger input, making it really easy to connect to semi-modular and modular pieces of gear. This makes it so that you can synchronize the gear with the drum machine, so the drum machine can act as a drum sequencer, or you can use the trigger input for not just clocking it, but also using some of the internal, really creative timing effects. Combining these upgrades gives the TR-06 new life above and beyond the original capabilities of the TR-606. Let's take a listen. So using ACB, I can shape each of these drums individually. Take the kick drum, for example. I'm going to tune it, hop back, go to the decay, draw it out a little bit, maybe tune it down some more. Go to the snare drum. Snare drum has a really cool control where we can control the timbre of it. Call it snappy. Go to the hi-hats here. Also included are compressors for the kick and the snare drum, so I'm able to create a more of a punchy type of sound between those two instruments. And let's say I wanted to add some reverb or some effects to some of the instruments. If I go into the menu system here and go to where it says send, I can send each of these drums individually to the send effect. Now the send effect can be anything from a delay to a reverb to a flanging effect. There's a lot of stuff in there to play with. So to hear it, raise the depth knob. Go to where it says delay type, I see it's on type 2. Switching it to type 1 gives more of a mono style delay. There's a stereo ping pong, there's a tape echo. And it creates a really fun kind of performance control if I want to create build-ups or breakdowns, that type of thing. So let's check out the overdrive as well. There's a drive knob here, which lets me add distortion. This is like a really cool type of like industrial type of sound. This too can also be changed. So if I change it to overdrive number 2, it's kind of like a bit reduction, sample rate reducer type of effect. There's also a multi-mode filter. Sequencing the TR-06 is really easy. Got a kick drum pattern playing. I can use this knob to select snare drum. Then using the tap button and manually programming, I can get a basic rhythm happening. I can hold a step and then use the accent knob to use different levels of velocity. Let's go to the hi-hats. One cool thing is I can go to the menu and go to the mute page and mute things in real time. This is a really easy performance mechanic that lets me kind of bring things in and out at the push of a button. One of the upgrades is substep, and if I hold this button right here and press a note, I can select how fast I want the substep to be. Now, perhaps my favorite upgrade to the sequencing is the probability. So this function's pretty standard in terms of what normal probability is supposed to behave like. If I press a step, I'll see a probability set to 100%. It's 100% that this note will come in. I can lower that in increments of 10. This gives me a lot of cool variations that I can do. But here's the thing that's a lot of fun to do. So I'm going to put in a bunch of snare notes, and I'm going to give them a probability of 0. And you'll see why I'm doing this in a second. So let's do that for a couple ones. Go to the hi-hats here, add some more of those. Now, if I hold the menu button and use the value knob, it's going to adjust what's called master probability. So I'll hold it and turn it up. So you notice how all of those notes are now being brought into the pattern. I can turn it all the way down really quickly, and it gives me a very drastic change in what the pattern sounds like. Lastly, step loop is a really fun feature to do if I want to do basically a drum machine version of a drum fill. I can hit the step loop button. Let's start by pressing one step. It basically slices that pattern on any number of steps that I press down. So if it's one step, it's going to loop it every 16th note. If I press multiple steps, it's going to slice between any of the steps that I press down. The TR-06 comes with a generous amount of trigger outputs. In this example, I'm using the TR-06 to clock the TB03 sequencer using the trigger route from the low tom. So let's play the pattern here. Now I can select the low tom, program some notes. Now we're still hearing the low tom, and all we need to do is just turn the volume down. Now it's getting its trigger source, and we're not hearing the low tom doubling over it. So that's a really cool, kind of easy way to fix that issue. Add in some more notes. Now this will respond to all of the sequencing effects that the TR-06 has. So I can add in those kind of probability parameters that we were talking about. Let's go to substep as well. It has a really cool effect to kind of create an evolving type of groove this way. Now, one trick that I like to do is take advantage of the trigger input. The trigger input isn't just for clocking when it comes to the TR-06. You could use it for basically trigger effects. So I've accessed it through the menu, and I can make it function like a normal trigger in with controlling the clock, but I can also do things like control the start point, whether it kind of goes to the head of the pattern. I can have it trigger a random pattern each time it gets an input, or I can shift it to the right or to the left. So I'm going to take this other cable, and I'm going to take the output of the TB03 and put it to the trigger in of the TR-06. So this basically will say that every time there's a note triggered on the TB03, every time there's a gate, it will shift the pattern of whatever I have selected to the left. So let's play it and see what it comes up with. So you see that now the sequence is moving to the left every time that it gets a note from the TB03. Now I can just let this play for probably a half an hour and it won't play back the same each time. It's always going to give you something completely different. The TR-06 is a massive upgrade to the TR-606. It has the upgraded sequencer, it's got the awesome sound engine, it has the trigger outputs that let you sync pretty much anything. It also has battery power and USB connection, so any kind of musical situation, you can plug this thing in and it just works. So for more information, check out Roland.com or check out the links in the description below. Thanks for watching.